And the next thing is a nuclear pulse. It's like, say, 55,000 times more powerful and more dangerous. Obviously, that's another thing. The next thing is a shockwave. Except it's way more deadlier than Earth Godzilla's atomic breath. Plus, if Mega Godzilla acts quickly, sometimes the nuclear pulse, not the nuclear pulse, the shockwave will basically take the shape of a sword, and if Mega Godzilla acts quickly enough, he can actually grab it, and the whole atomic breath or energy, or the whole beam itself, it'll just change from a beam to an instant giant freaking sword. And the sword it basically collects, basically, crap, how am I going to explain this? Basically, if Mega Godzilla, puts the sword down, taking the sharp end and just sticking it into the ground, he can harness radiation, plutonium, plasma energy, and surprisingly, energon and dark energon. Yes, Mega Godzilla feeds off of dark energon and energon. Mega Godzilla actually goes crazy when it comes to dark energon. He basically acts like an overgrown bloodhound. Like, say, for example, if you have a small box of dark energon and you open it up, let's say you're all the way in Asia or Australia, and Mega Godzilla is in the Alaskan Triangle, or just in the South Pole. He'll instantly pick up the scent and just go charging straight at that location. He just acts like an overgrown bloodhound. He goes crazy with that stuff. Plus, dark energon basically enhance his powers. Plus, he's kind of scared on how to use the power of the dark energon. That's what the sword basically does. Not just that, it even acts like Khan's battle axe. When, let's say, a opponent that has lightning powers, like Legendary King Ghidorah, for example, he fires his lightning at Mega Godzilla. Mega Godzilla grabs the sword and just uses the sword, and the sword takes the hit for Mega Godzilla. It harnesses the electricity itself, and the electricity goes up to Mega Godzilla's arm and recharges him. Basically, he's like an overgrown walking battery. Not just that, his spines are like a huge billboard that says, "Strike here." Basically where the lightning needs to strike. Not just that basically works with all Godzillas, even with OCs. Besides of OCs, that works with all Godzillas. If you don't believe me, watch Giant Monsters All Out Attack and Godzilla against Mega Godzilla and 1984/1985, or whatever you want to call them. Sorry about that. Anyways, let's move on. Mega Godzilla's other ability is, of course, this one is pretty well known to Mega Godzilla because he actually has telekinesis, and he also has Force Lightning. He rarely uses that ability. Yes, he actually has Force Lightning. His second ability is his Super Oscillatorial Wave. It's way more powerful. 50 or 70 times more powerful than Earth Godzilla's and Muto Prime's Super Oscillatorial Wave. And the other thing is the fact that he has basically the other two weapons that he uses is basically Shin Godzilla style. He rarely fires an atomic breath out of his back, but he doesn't rarely use his tail. He actually uses his tail very often. But he shoots an atomic breath from his back and from his tail. Now let's go on to family members. Now remember, like what I said before, where Mega Godzilla is not interested on dating Mega Mothras. Like what I said before, one of them is even, one of them is just even his stepsister. Like what I said before, he's kind of interested on dating his own species within a way. So, there's that. Anyways, moving on. Mega Godzilla's first ever grandfather is Mega Godzilla 1974, and his first ever great-grandmother is Mega Female Godzilla 1975. It's 1955. Mega Female Godzilla 1955. And their child, Mega Godzilla's great-great-great-grandfather, is Mega Godzilla 2002, and Mega Godzilla's great-great-great-great-grandmother is Mega Female Godzilla 1984, and their child is Mega Godzilla 1994? Yeah, 1994. And his mate is Mega Female Godzilla 1990. No, it wasn't 1994, it was Mega Godzilla 2000. And his mate is Mega Female Godzilla 1993. And their son, they actually have three. Mega Godzilla's grandfather, Mega Legendary Godzilla, his great-grand-uncle, Mega Shin Godzilla, and his great-great-grand-uncle, his other one, is Mega GMK Godzilla. Now, his grandmother is the reason why he has Tyrannosaurus Rex teeth and basically shares few similar characteristics with a T-Rex. His T-Rex was actually a giant mutated Tyrannosaurus Rex. And how did she become a giant mutated T-Rex, and how she became his Legendary Godzilla side? For now, it's unknown. But their daughter, Mega Female Godzilla 2014, aka Mega Godzilla's mother. And Mega Godzilla's father explains why he has 2004 dorsal spines on his back. And his father is Mega Godzilla Final Wars. Now for Mega Godzilla's mate is Mega Female Snow Godzilla. Now, most Mega Kaiju don't consider this as weird because I mainly got this idea from modern day lions and Smilodon. So, most Mega Kaiju are capable of having 1 to 5 or even 6 females as mates. Like I said, I got this idea from modern day lions and Smilodons. So, for now, Mega Godzilla has only one mate. And he has 8 kids. 8 freaking kids. He has a handful. And I'll possibly go over them in the next part, because I want to go over his scars first before we go over his rivals. So, those of you who are new to the channel and wondering what I mean by scars, Mega Godzilla has 2 scars. He has one on his right eye, and they're both in the shape of an axe. No, it was not a Mega Kong who caused the axe-shaped scar to happen. We will go over on who caused that scar to happen, eventually. Then the other one, another axe-like scar, is on his chest, the right side. Basically has two giant frickin' scars, acts like scars, on the right side of his eye. And no, he's not blind from that side of the eye. He's still fine. But he has one giant acts like scar on his right eye and on the right side of his chest. Now for his rivals. He has two rivals that he hates the most, but there's one he really hates the most. And that, well, the first one being the cause of the reason why half his kind got killed. And that is Mega Legendary King Ghidorah. This guy is actually responsible of of the murder of Mega Godzilla's mom and dad. So, he's one of them. If you're wondering why is he not a severe threat to him, he is, but he's not that severe to him. Mainly because Mega Legendary King Ghidorah wants to be the king of the world. He wants to kill off all the regular life forms like us humans and other small mammals and reptiles. He wants to get rid of that, change the environment itself, and just recreate it into his own image. The kaiju and the main monsters, they're okay. They can stay. But for Mega Godzilla's second ancient rival is his most hated one, and his number one arch rival. Number one. Just number one. That is Mega Death Ghidorah. The reason why he's number one, because of one particular reason. Mega Death Ghidorah challenges Mega Godzilla constantly for the throne as king of the Mega Monsters. If you're wondering who challenges him, Mega Godzilla, as role as king of all Godzillas, no one. No one's challenging him for the role as king of all Godzillas. Anyone who dares challenging him as king of the monster, as king of the Mega Monsters, and king of all Godzillas, they're gonna regret it. Because there's one thing that terrifies all Godzillas, even Mega Godzillas, well, except for one. We'll go over him in a future video. But there's one thing that terrifies all Godzillas about him. Just one. And if you're wondering what's so terrifying about him, he rarely, and I mean rarely, acts like a frickin' cannibal. Yes, he acts like a cannibal sometimes. That's the one thing you need to be terrified about him. If you're Godzilla, you constantly have to be terrified about him. Because Mega Godzilla will act like a cannibal when he needs to act like a cannibal. When he needs to act like a cannibal, he will act like a cannibal. There was one Godzilla who did challenge him for the role as king of all Godzillas. But that Godzilla ended up regretting it because of one thing. That Godzilla was Hair-Bombarian Godzilla. And, well, you can say Hair-Bombarian Godzilla did not meet a very happy ending.